This is just history. NCAA regional championships. We got a Naismith Award. Never seen this. I think this was the year Kobe had his Naismith Men's Player of the Year. Great company. Beautiful company. Kobe Bryant. Kiesha Brown. Man. It's crazy. Olympic team. God dang. Just don't stop, do it. You got Sharif. Great company. And then finally Woodward. Georgia's own Woodward Academy. 31-0. Perfect season. All right. Getting ready to talk. I don't think we'll have enough time. I know we're not gonna have enough time. So are you doing a podcast too? You doing?
No. So I want to say but I just completed a book for recruiting. Yeah. And so I have this. Look, I'm gonna give her a visual too. Boom, there it is. So I have this to share with you so you can kind of use it as like an excerpt, but it blends into all of this.
Okay.
It blends into all of it.
Okay. So are those questions okay?
Yeah, they're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already gone through them and done my thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, everything is good, in terms of how we do it. The questions are really, really good questions. I've got to think from a lot of different hats.
Oh my God, so, that's probably, I was telling Dawn, we need to do a follow-up with her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll probably need to do a follow-up with you because there's no way that we can. There's no way we can, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I want to be able to talk about it, be able to introduce all of this, as I've been trying to do a slow rollout social media-wise. Now it's just trying to kind of punch it. So I'm getting all that content just kind of geared up and ready. So
this is nice.
Yeah, we've gotten good feedback so far. I've got one of my swimmers actually doing it. So it's not just basketball.
Multi-sport, huh?
It's college because, for college now, you've got to go find the colleges. Colleges aren't coming to you anymore. So that's the first big flip. Obviously we could talk about it more in depth, but that's like the first big flip. And because kids do so much on their thumbs, they don't know how to ask questions, have conversations, put sentences together, put paragraphs together. And so this is their own icebreaker in a way where they can ask questions to the coaches. They can ask the same questions to the coaches. You don't have to overthink this process. And so it's literally laid out for them. And it's span over my years of coaching and how we've been able to successfully get kids at the next level and play. And so it's written on paper.
Bad. That's bad.
It's written on paper.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of them? Multiple copies?
Oh, they don't want published. It's published. Oh. It's ready. The more that we think about like leadership through sports and the self-advocacy and the real assessment of who like we are as like 18-year-olds, 14, 15, 16-year-olds going into school, like they don't know what they want. And so they also don't know how to lead. And us being athletes, like we were forced in a position to lead. We didn't even know we were doing it.
Right.
So it's like, okay, come out your shell, let's go.
Welcome to the Black and White Table Talk, the place where we slow the game down and talk about what lives in the gray. Today's conversation starts before the first whistle, before the first game, before the rankings, scholarships, championships, before kids even know what sport they love. We spend a lot of time asking why youth sports have become so intense. And I don't know if we'll ever be able to change that, but what we're asking maybe is the wrong question. Maybe the better one is, what are we teaching athletes from the very beginning? What habits, values, definitions of success get planted long before anyone steps onto a varsity court. Today's guest has lived in every side of that journey. I'm just so excited to have you here. She's a two-time Miss Basketball.
I think so.
Two-time Miss Basketball. This accolade list is going to take a minute. It's really going to take a minute. All-American at Woodward Academy, Georgia's own. University of Georgia standout. WNBA player. French Open Championship. Was that the
French Cup Championship?
French Cup Championship. You're an athletic director now, coach, official. You just parent. You cover every single side of this ecosystem, and I'm so happy to have you here. It's an honor to be with you. So
yeah, I'm happy to be here too. I'm happy that you chose me.
Well, you look, it's hard not to because you are phenomenal. So I'm just so glad to have you. You're building something bigger, a vision for athlete development that starts not with identifying talent, but kind of that completes athletes from a blank slate. Would you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, so when I got into coaching, it was fresh off of the French Cup Championship, my last year playing at the international level in France for the team Bourges. And so when I finished, it was obviously like, what do you do now? Like, you know, everybody calls it the lab, life after basketball. And while coaching wasn't the top 7, you know, what I knew I loved was I love kids. I love sports in every capacity, in every arena, and I love the school calendar. And so I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by young people that I trained, got to know their parents. And one parent in particular, he was a regional director. I told this story earlier. He was a regional director at Coca-Cola. And he showed me how to interview. And ironically, when you leave the game, those things are not the bridge. So it is the gap. And so him teaching me how to interview and learning those skills where my skills were in experiences. My skill wasn't in the workforce. And so given my experiences and given how I've had to adapt to different cultures, pivoting with languages, not getting contracts settled the way they need to do, playing on the court, leading teams of different languages, of different cultures, all of those things encompass a life skill. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to take those skills, turn them into experiences, and be able to interview well enough. And so that's kind of my story from being on the court to becoming what is off the court. And a lot of the kids, just to kind of put it all together, that I've been able to experience a journey with, they've all had the same dream that I had of being able to go to play ball in college. And so with their dreams and my experiences, again, I was able to form Game On, which is a recruiting workbook that not only helps kids self-assess, self-advocate, they find the right fit. And it also allows parents to be able to be in the back seat of that journey as these kids navigate that.
Wow. So that's phenomenal. I mean, there's so much richness there. There's so many questions and different directions. I mean, I want to talk about your experiences too at like Woodward. I mean, I can't imagine you were All-American there. You did you know it was going to be basketball first off? I mean, did you?
No, I played softball.
Really?
So basketball and softball were my sports. Now I love watching football, but basketball and softball were my sports. And when we got to the point of where recruiting was bigger than what we had ever thought it would be, I sat together with my mom and my dad, and we had to make a decision not to play softball my senior year because of just the engulfment of recruiting. I didn't want to end it that way. Obviously, I'm not a quitter of any sort, but this is one of those things where it's like, okay, I chose the game of basketball to be able to lead me and lead my life. So being able to do that with their support was I was in much gratitude for it.
So, I mean, it was just everybody wanted Kiesha Brown to, and you just settled on Georgia. I mean,
it wasn't a settle. I made them work for it.
So I mean, how did you come to choose? Like, what were some other options for you?
So my top 5 were Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Rutgers, and Alabama. So you get 4 SEC schools, and you get Rutgers, who's an anomaly, but this was also the year that Vivian Stringer took over at the helm. So you can't help but get to meet her, get to know her, feel like what her program's about, and the philosophies align. And that was tough because the opportunity to be coached by her, a Black female coach that has such a rich history, coming all the way from Long Beach, like you had to consider it. But I think at the end of the day, the relationships that I had with the women that were at Georgia that I knew would be my teammates, the relationships that I was establishing with the coaches, it just went further, right? And to this day, we still have those relationships. So, going to school when I was at Woodward Academy and getting out of my car, I remember this so vividly, getting out of my car and Georgia on my mind. It's a real thing for me because that's when I decided that, like, okay, this is Georgia. All right, I'm going to sleep on it. And I sleep on it, and it's still Georgia. So, that's kind of the love language that we all share. The reason why all of us committed to the G, committed to Georgia, because we all wanted to be the first to win that championship. So there was still that goal. Even though it's elusive right now, we all have that goal in mind.
You've won many other things.
Many other.
You got a Naismith Award.
Yes.
I mean, Female Player of the Year. That's just, it's just so rare, right? I mean, it's one of those a year.
It is, but when you're playing a game that is in its purity and you love and you've got good people that surround you, and I mean good teammates, and you've got good support in your family and the coaching staff, in the faculty and staff at Mays High School and Woodward, when you have that kind of support, it's easy to just play the game. And that's what I did. And fortunately enough, my game was good enough to be on a national level. And to be able to get recognized with my brother, Kobe Bryant, in that regard. So, I'm forever grateful for that.
Naismith with Kobe.
Yes.
Hey, so you had a perfect season at Woodward too, right? I mean,
2 perfect seasons.
2 perfect seasons. God dang. So you never lost, what was it, your junior, senior year?
My junior, senior year, I never lost. 62-0.
Golly, I'm trying to digest that.
Yeah. 62. We actually went to 65. The streak was 65 at Woodward for girls basketball.
That's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
great people.
So you go to Georgia, wonderful career there, right? I mean, how was that?
Well, it's an ebb and flow. Like I will say it's just an ebb and flow because you get to Georgia and you have all of these expectations coming after Saudi Roundtree to just lead a team of seniors who we missed it, right? We were 1 game shot a year before. So coming in and being that heir apparent to Saudi Roundtree, not that it ever was anything to me. We'll talk about pressure, right? But it wasn't pressure to me. It was just playing the game, and I'm playing it with another level. There's an ebb and flow because then there's an injury, and then there's how do I come back from this injury? How do I still be in the number throughout this injury and throughout a brand new team, a brand new nucleus of players? How am I going to be accepted? So all of these questions have to be answered, right? And how does my game continue to evolve now that the WNBA is a part of it now? So now the end is not overseas. The end can be the WNBA. Yeah. I
mean, and the level, the jump from Woodward to college and then college to the league. I mean, can you describe that just a little bit? I mean, like, it's not like they're huge jumps, right? I mean, the physicality, the mental preparedness it takes. I mean, all of that is pretty different from each level.
It's so funny because when you're in it, you don't see anything else. You just know you're in it. And you're in it with the woman to the left of you and you're in it with the woman to the right of you. And that's all you know. So when you go from being at a high level, like I was in high school, and not losing and being taught the game the right way, to going into college and seeing my new freshman teammates, not having learned what I learned at high school, it already put me in a space where I was probably already a freshman in college, a senior in high school. So it put me there. And in having to learn and mature under the tutelage of those ladies that were before me, it helped, right?
Yeah.
The injury was a big block of that. It was basically 2 years. And I was the first 5-year player for girls basketball at Georgia. But you go through that and you build through that and you realize you go from being taught to teaching. But then that's where kind of the leadership thing develops, right? You go from being taught to teaching and it's like, what am I doing? Am I ready for this? Who am I becoming? And is this right?
Yeah.
You know, I got injured. She's not going to learn from me. She doesn't know any better. But at the same time, this is still the confidence that I have. And so you make that jump to, can I play in the WNBA? I don't know. Let me ask coach. And coach makes a phone call and next thing you know, I'm at a combine. And from the combine, you don't get drafted. So am I still good enough? They say you are. Let's go overseas. So you get an agent and I start my professional career in Zaragoza, Spain, not in the WNBA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity to work. I say work in the dark. There's a proverb out there that, you know, ants work in the off season. So when their season comes, they're already full and plentiful and they have the food that they need. So for me, going overseas was my working in the dark, was getting myself prepared and ready for when I got the opportunity to play in the WNBA, I was going to be ready. So that was my goal in the 3 months that I spent overseas, isolated by myself.
Wow. How was that experience in Spain? I mean, totally
I love it.
Language, like everything. Huh?
I loved it. Once that door closed from with the plane and you go from Philadelphia to Madrid, Spain, and then another 3 hours to Zaragoza, you realize that like you just can't hop on a plane and come back home. And then you start thinking about all of the class time when you're learning Spanish and all the times that you didn't want to conjugate a verb.
Right.
And now what that looks like when you're immersed in the culture. I mean, it is a real thing. And so it took that time. I would go, instead of going home after practice, I would go to lunch and I would sit at a cafe and I would take a menu and I would read the menu and I would recite what I wanted for lunch and I would keep the menu and I would study the menu.
Wow.
So I knew what carne was.
Wow.
I knew how to say certain things. I needed to eat. So I needed to know exactly what I was ordering. So that was like my first step. And then the more that, you know, I was going back overseas, I started to enjoy the time because not only was it a time that I got a chance to grow myself as a player, but I grew myself as a person. I had to learn how to live with me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, I mean, you've played in Spain. Where were you in France?
Bourges.
Bourges? Anywhere else overseas?
I did time in Moscow, Russia.
Really?
Yes. Istanbul, Turkey, Prague, Czech Republic. Very fun.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Beer was 50 cents.
Oh, wow.
That's where I learned how to eat duck. Like, it's just so many things, so many cultural shifts where it's like, try it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, most of my time spent was in Spain. I spent 6 years in Spain, developed a lot of relationships over there, a lot of friendships. But my time in other spaces was, you know, even more of just a light bulb for my life.
Man, just wonderful experiences.
Yeah.
Just blessed.
It was a good time.
Man, I mean, and I thought, you know, I'm thinking WNBA, you know what I mean? And those, not to minus that or take anything away from that, but man, those traveling is something that I just long to do. So, I mean, I'm so glad And we don't get to do it that much,
No.
right?
Well, back in those days, I'll say like the 90s and, early 2000s, it was the WNBA was your letters as a PhD to a doctor. So if you were in the WNBA, you getting a job, a healthy job overseas was what you needed. So you needed to be on a WNBA team to be able to get the job that you wanted overseas.
Wow.
So that was the key there. And my money was made overseas. I was more successful overseas because I was that key player. And so now being that key player overseas, you come back over to the W, you don't stop your role. They just understand that you can score or that you can do certain things because you've done it at a high level at such a high repetition. Now coming to the league, playing against the best players, with and against the best players in the world, that now is like, okay, she can score if she needs to. That is what made me like a high role player. And a lot of us.
Yeah. So you spent 10, 11 years in?
10 years.
Can you tell me a little bit about your experiences there? I mean, there's like each one of these things I could probably talk to you about for an hour. But can you share just a little bit about, because I want to get back to development and culture, stuff like that. But can you just share about the W a little bit?
Well, the W, when I'm saying we played, it was a sisterhood. It really is currently. It's a sisterhood. And when you realize how much it has evolved from 1996 and the pioneers, I'll include myself in that, the pioneers that were a part of it, being able to be a part of the 30th anniversary in Chicago, and really understand the steps, but not understand what you were doing in the moment was incredible, right? I had opportunity to play in LA for a couple of years, and this was Candace Parker's first year, Lisa Leslie, obviously. And that particular team, Delisha Mill, like it was, I can go on and on and on. That particular team sold out. We were the biggest away game draw for that year.
Oh, yeah.
So we never saw any gym under 10,000.
No.
So to walk into an all-star game and it's 20 plus thousand, it was a normal thing, right? And to see the evolution of what we were fighting for, what we settled for, what we continue to fight for, and now what these young ladies have, it's great. It's a sisterhood. There is only so much a percentage of us that have gone through the gauntlet with this and have gone through the evolution of what basketball is. And basketball has changed because of the people that now are a part of, again, this small evolution of it. You still take the NBA. You still take the ABA, the ABL, when the women were playing in the ABL. And, we like to include the Harlem Globetrotters in that too. Yeah.
Man, you must, it's got to feel good to see where the game is now. Do you like where it is now? I mean, how do you feel about that?
I like where it is right now. I think that the parity in the teams, there's no one dominant team. Any team can be beaten on any given night. And it comes to a factor where you can see a 2-point game one night and then the next night it's a blowout with one of the same teams. So I love the parity in that. I love the opportunities that people are getting to manage, to be a president, to be head coaches. There are different names and different people that are out there now versus when we were coming, where it was still kind of a close-knit group. But I think now you see the league expanding more. WNBA is reaching into the NBA, and a couple of those coaches have come over to the WNBA because the language is the same now. And so I think I appreciate that because it continues to expand who, we are in terms of women's basketball.
Wow, that, I never really thought of it from that perspective, right? I mean, I know you're a great leader, and I never really thought that there are more opportunities for leadership, and there's more opportunities that are opening up.
Oh yeah, and I always talk about it when there's been opportunity for a lot of us who have gone through the league, and again, it's that gap that we haven't been able to bridge. It's what do we do afterwards? And you see Kia Clark in New York, you see the president that's with the Tempo, they all came from the WNBA. Wow. They got the opportunity to do what they do best, which is lead on a higher stand. And that's led to championships for New York, right? Kudos to them. And that's given them those opportunities, but also opened up for more opportunities. You see Becky Hammon went and got, she already had the highest IQ, one of the highest IQs I know about the game, goes over to San Antonio and then gets the opportunity to come back to Las Vegas Aces and coach and takes over for Bill Laimbeer. So you see people from the W that have been rooted into the W come back because they want to be a part of something special. Not to mention that some of those people too, the pioneers, they've gone to Upshot. You have a whole nother league that now women are being a part of. So if they didn't get a chance to make the for the W, they're now going over to Upshot.
Man, it's unbelievable, right? And I'd say this, I'm so happy to see the game growing. And it's just, I wish it would have happened sooner, right? And it's right on time.
Timing is everything.
It's right on time.
Yeah.
So tell me about development. I mean, at what point did you realize that this isn't it? Well, you coach now, right? Yep. So tell me a little bit about that.
So coaching is relationship based, and kids are not going to work for you if there's not some correlation, there's not some care. And for what we do in the coach's world, there just has to be some finite care. There has to be some connection to the person. And I'm real big, and my assistant coaches, they help me a ton, because if I can't connect to a certain individual, one of them can.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very important. And so the development of those things, they come from being able to have those relationships and to grow those relationships. So when a kid is not having a good day when they walk into the building, right? And her teammates should know that too, because now that's a pickup, right? We call them positive touches. If we're not having a good day, I've got to let my team know first, my two assistants. I've got to let them know that I didn't have a good day, or I'm coming out of one. Yeah. So they see where they can rally around me and vice versa. And for the kids, the relationship-based portion of it, they've got to be able to see it, because it can't all be about them.
So this isn't really about, I've heard you describe it, but you're not talking about performance. You're talking about relationships and development, right?
It is. But so when the performance piece is going to come when I know that my coach over there is going to give me her trust. I can perform. I know that I'm not going to come out of a game off of a turnover we've talked about, right? Now, if that turnover is repetitive, the same turnover, then we've got to come out, because we've got to be able to correct some things to develop within our performance, right? So the ball handling, the shots, the passing, all of those things that help us become the player we need to be, that's all because we've already done the psychological work. It's the psychological work that's going to get them to be able to play, to be mentally headstrong, and to do the things that they need to do.
So how much of it do you think is mental and then versus physical? I mean, if you had to break it up percentage-wise. So
I'll put it to you like this. I was never a shooter. I became a shooter. And I think the reason why I was never a shooter, because people told me I couldn't shoot. So it was a confidence. So once I started actually getting into the gym, right, and now working on my skill of being a good shooter, having someone in my ear telling me I was a good shooter, this is how you correct it, this is how you improve it, then that person who's giving you that is continue to build up that confidence that you're also building up as well. Shooting, I say, is 80% confidence, 20% technique. Because if you have the confidence, if I can bop that ball off my head and it go in the basket, and I know I can bop it in the basket off my head, you're going to tell me to bop that ball off the top of my head.
Right, and score.
And score, because I know that I can do it. Right. It's the same with the step through move. It's the same with the spin move. If it's your move, it's your move. Yeah. If you have the confidence to be able to do it, and your coaches are giving you the confidence to be able to make that move, then you can do it.
Yeah.
But if my coach doesn't have the confidence and he keeps saying, don't do it. Well, when I get into my muscle memory, I'm not supposed to do it, so it's going to come off awkward.
Right.
So to me, it's 80% confidence and 20% skill set.
Yeah. So I'm reading this book. It's called Relentless. It's by Tim Grover, who is a famous trainer for Kobe and Michael and Dwayne Wade. And he talks about how muscle memory is one of the most important things.
Yes.
Like he basically trained, and those guys worked obviously probably harder than anybody.
Yes.
I mean, they were in the gym before games, after games, win, loss, it didn't matter, off season.
Yes.
They were constantly. Kobe is, I'm sure he's just a notorious person to stay. He lived in
his work ethic was unmatched.
And part of what Grover believes is that he doesn't want athletes to think. He wants you to react.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think, then that half second that it causes you to think at a certain level is going to put you at a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, do you run a lot of drills? Do you in terms of development, that, how do you create that with your team?
So we do, and this is in great part to one of my assistant coaches. Quick story with him. I'll keep his name nameless until.
It's okay. We can.
But he played. Oh no, it's fine. He's one of my. I call him my bodyguard. His name's Kevin Walker. He had 5 kids on the varsity team, and he went to the Final Four in Georgia high school.
Wow.
And one of his kids, her name was Morgan, and she averaged 42 points a game. The team averaged 50.
Wow.
And he did the same drills every day, the same defensive drills every day. And I kept trying to figure out, he was with us now, kept trying to figure out why my kids weren't connecting. And he told me that story, and I said, okay, so we do a defensive block, and it's about a 30, 35-minute defensive block, depending on what we really want to get done for the day. And we drill the same things in this defensive block.
Wow.
From 2-on-2 to 3-on-3 to 4-on-4 to 5-on-5.
Wow.
The same things. So now when we get into the game, the muscle memory has been created. So we've taken the skill, we've taken the work, we've taken the repetition, and now we put it into the game where it's still the same. It doesn't matter where the ball is, you know where you're supposed to be because of the work that we've already put in.
Yeah.
So that repetition begets the execution. Right. So that 35 to 40-minute block that we have defensively, I'm a defensive-minded person. We do it every day.
Yeah. I mean, so what, you mentioned blank slate, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you, tell me more about that blank slate and your philosophy on that?
Well, my blank slate started when I started coaching, right? Do I coach from the high school level I know of? Do I coach from the college level I know of? Or do I coach from the professional level that I know of?
I mean,
throw it all out the window. Coach the kids where they are. And then you incorporate your levels, my levels, to their ability to learn, to their processes. So that's what I had to do. My first team, when I started out at Galloway, half of them were soccer players, and they played basketball to get through the soccer.
Oh, wow.
So 1, you have physicality, right? That's a bonus. Yeah. 2, you have endurance. Yeah. How do I use physicality and endurance and have them make layups?
Wow.
And run at the same time.
Wow.
So that's where I notioned it. One of my kids was a cross country runner. And
did you press or did you?
Nope. Positions weren't there. I would box in 1 because my cross country kid could run for days. Wow. And she was 6 feet and she was slender and she was long. She could just get deflections. So I would have her boxing 1, the best kid, and make sure that I had all of my other people in the space to where that if she got a deflection, you better be there to pick it up.
Right. Wow.
That's soccer, right? So you take the endurance, you take the physicality, you put it together. That was my team. Yeah. Now, once I started to get basketball players, now you start to coach the game the way I was taught. Yeah. That was my blank slate. And I still incorporate some of those things to this day, but it goes back to knowing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just amazing. I never really, and I should think, right? Like with all of the experiences you've had, I mean, when you get, kids, and I don't want to make this sound bad, but I mean, in comparison to who you've played against and who, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. How do you kind of mold that, those expectations, you know what I'm saying? Like to your teams, because you want things done on an extremely high level, right?
Well, again, it goes back to I can't expect for you to work at an extremely high level if you haven't been taught the fundamentals. And that's the key point. I can't expect my kid to take a charge if she doesn't know how to fall. So we have to teach those things. And when we teach those things, then you start the expectancy. Yeah. And so that's where we go, is building those foundational principles, understanding who you have on your team and how we can benefit in using all of our individual skills.
Yeah. What do you think we're teaching kids too early or too late? What types of things?
Now, when you mean things, I say things in terms of we are putting our kids in one sport too early. They should be athletes. They shouldn't be basketball players. They shouldn't be football players. They should be athletes, because now athletes can play football, can play basketball, can play baseball, can run track. But if you get a kid that all they know how to do is this, then they're not going to know how to do this. And I think that's an important piece, is allow them to be an athlete. Yeah.
Yeah. So specialization too early.
Yeah.
Really? Do you think you see that happening?
Oh, absolutely. It's especially, the trickle down effect that's happening from the pros to now college and NIL, rev share. It's in high school now. Yeah. So if it's in high school, it's in 8th grade.
So do you feel that contributes to injuries and burnout and all of that stuff too?
I think it attributes to both. Yes. Injuries because you're overworking a lot of muscles and underdeveloping the smaller muscles. Yeah. Burnout because all you do is this. Yeah. And if kids are being pulled into the gym, why are they really going? I have parents ask me, how do I know if my kid loves it? And my answer is a rhetorical question. Are they in the car before you? And if they're not in the car before you, then you're pulling them. You have to ask the question, do they really love it? But if they're in the car before you, waiting on you, then we got something.
Wow. That's a great way of looking at that. Yeah. Do you think there's a starting point that, what you just allow the kid, any kid or every kid, your kid, to just choose kind of? You just expose them to as many sports as possible? And
so I'm going to put my mom hat on with this one. I've got a very excitable 4-year-old. And yeah, it's exposure. I think it's that exposure with what they want versus what they can actually do. And so, she's been exposed to all sports as a player, as a spectator. And she's latched on to certain things. And even if it's for a time being, she's had that experience. And I think that's the most important thing. Like, for me, it's just to let her weave in and out of what she wants. Now, when I talk to other families, right, who are getting their kids developed for a specific sport, when you get to high school, then it's like, have you asked them? They can talk. They can use their words. Like, ask them what they like, and let them steer outside of us as parents saying you should. Let them steer, but yes, we have an opinion because they're our kids, but you need to let them lead at some point. Yeah.
So there's another book, and I just got finished talking to
you. Read a lot.
Oh, I love to read.
I love that.
I've read since I was a little kid. But it's called Changing the Game. Mm-hmm. And Kiesha, I recommend it for every parent of a kid that plays. And he talks about setting goals with your kids, not really talking to them about the sport, right after the game is over, because, everybody's emotional. I mean, just a lot of good things in there, about how to kind of figure out where expectations are for your child, right, and us as parents, right? I mean, we think you're going to make it, right?
Right.
That's what my kid can, he's going to be the next
That's our ambition.
Or, you know what I mean? And really, I think there needs to be some truth telling, right? I mean, it's interesting, you asked the question, can I play in the WNBA? And I would have thought that you were just like, I know I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So do you feel like there's a gap in between what we're telling our kids, what coaches are telling kids?
I think that's independent of who the sources are. Mm-hmm. Because there's motivation for everyone. And there are different motivations for everyone. And you've got to be able to let the real motivation show itself. And if it's about an athlete being the best version of themselves, whatever comes with it, we have to be okay with that, right? It's okay to push. I've been in my own advocacy stage of, I'm telling my kid to do this, why am I not doing it, right? But I do think that there are motivations for everything that we do for one goal. And we've got to make sure that we put all those motivations in perspective and know that it's about the kid, because that is what is a part of leading to the burnout. Because if I just quit, if I'm this athlete and I don't have a head on my shoulders that's strong enough, if I just quit, then all of this goes away, right? Whereas we've got to be able to find those motivations that collectively give us what we want in the kid.
Yeah. So, I mean, you talked about NIL and rev share. I mean, how do you feel like those things are impacting the game? It is at the high school level. Right?
It is.
I mean, Georgia is one of the states that offers kids to get paid. I mean, I don't know how it works, but it is here, huh?
It's here. There's a lot of paperwork to be had with it. Last year we had Kate Harpering, who's now in North Carolina. She was our only female basketball player that had
Matt.
Matt Harper's daughter, that had a NIL deal. And it's just, there's a lot of paperwork. I don't want to say red tape, but just paperwork that you have to do with Georgia high school. But it's the same paperwork that's probably done at the college level too, about just saying, hey, I have these sponsors that, are using my name, likeness, and image. And you have to go through all of those things to be able to have it. There's percentages that get cut for everybody. So again, it becomes like all motivation based, but if the kid is staying true and if, the team is keeping away the distraction so that the kid can perform, I think that's the win.
Yeah, man, it's turning into a totally different environment.
It is.
I mean, or would you say it's different from when you were at Woodward or?
Most definitely. I mean, you think about it, like, I tell the story when I talk, but it's when in 1996, I got player of the year on the women's side. Naismith player of the year. In 1996, Kobe Bryant got player of the year on the boys' side. August of 1996, I was moving into a dorm room at the University of Georgia. Yeah. July of 1996, Kobe had just gotten traded from Charlotte to LA with a $108 million deal from Nike and still had finished his contract with the NBA. That's the difference. And so while this side is fully established, right, and ready to place their bets on this human who was a phenomenal player, took his work very seriously and was uber successful, the same thing is for me. The same accolades, the work that I put in, it awarded me a scholarship to the University of Georgia.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what it did. Yeah. And that is the difference. So how do I take that in my world and make something of it? Whereas he took the same thing and probably the same pressures.
For sure.
And make something of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting to me, and I think, do you watch a lot of the WNBA now?
I do.
You do?
Yes.
I didn't know if you, I know there's so many ways to watch it, which is, and streaming and all that stuff. You can watch games on tape. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. But I know you're really, really busy. But Olivia Miles and Clark, do you think there's going to be someone that comes from high school that goes straight to the league? Do you think that's possible?
Anything is possible.
It should happen?
I think anything is possible. One of the rules, and I would probably have to get checked on this, is you have to be 4 years of college or 2 years professional experience.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's the rule.
Yeah.
But again, rules have been changed. Standards have been created.
Right. For sure.
And there's never that time. But if you think about it this way too, people are staying in college because they're getting more money than they would if they were a professional basketball player.
Right.
So you get into the new rulings. You get into the 5-for-5s and what that looks like in the addendums that come with the 5-for-5 for people that have gotten their papers, have walked, and are ready to go pro. And then they find out they can have another year in college because of what they got paid.
So the 5-for-5, when you mentioned that, would you explain that to
So the 5-for-5, it was articulately explained to me where now as a college student, starting in 2023, you have five years to play in college. Pretty much it gets rid of the red shirt, and we talk about it for football, it gets rid of the red shirt year. But for a lot of other sports, basically what that does is their senior year, they have the option to play a fifth. And so where this is great for them, from a program standpoint, you have 3 spots, right? You have that senior, you have the program, and then you have this incoming freshman. So from the senior, if I want to stay a 5th year, then that takes away a scholarship from an incoming freshman.
Got it.
From a program perspective, if you know that you've got a senior coming back, that's great for experience purposes, and you get to have this person that knows the system, knows how to do it. Do we have the money for them? And we also have one less scholarship.
Got it.
So it's threefold.
Yeah.
And the new addendum to the 5-for-5 is the fact that now if you have graduated, you have walked, you come back, you have to go to the school you just left.
Yeah.
So now you have to see what the purse looks like on that side.
Yeah. The money is it's unbelievable.
It is. It is. Imagine me coming out Naismith Player of the Year.
I was going to say, I can't imagine
yes.
what you would be making.
I wouldn't be driving a Honda Accord. No offense to Honda Accords, but those are great cars.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's why you got it. But,
that's right.
I'm just saying oh my gosh, it's kind of scary given that. But do you think you were ready to have that much money back then? At what?
Shoot.
What, 16, 17?
I would have tried.
God.
The first thing we see when we get money is, I want a car, I want jewelry.
Right.
You're not talking about investments. You need tangible things that you can touch and feel.
Yeah. So, do you think we're creating kids that are like competitors, or do you think how we're training kids now? You know what I mean? Like, what are we instilling in them?
I feel like the installation piece is when you get to the foundation of it. It's the core piece of making sure you have the basic fundamentals to be able to play the game, right? You have those basic fundamentals. The next part of that is being able to apply those fundamentals in games and be successful at doing that. And with that comes all of the other things that engulf it, right? It's the NIL piece. It's getting offers at schools your 8th, your 9th grade year. Yeah. All those things come about. But again, you start building your team, right? Earlier in the days now than you would if you're building your team out of college. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of the difference. It's not a day that I don't go by where I walk into my gym and we have people that are doing player development and there are not 3 people walking around with a camera. It's the leg. It's just where it is right now. And it's probably so invisible to players now just because of what they do and how long that they've been followed, that it's just somebody else in the gym.
Wow. It's unbelievable. So what do you think parents kind of understand about or think about development? I mean, there's so much focus on winning, right? I mean, how do you kind of balance those two things, development and winning and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, at its core, you can't win without development. So that's kind of the core piece of it, right? And we have to understand who we are as players. You know, again, one of the questions, you know, shameless plug, but in Game On, like,
talk about.
Yeah, one of the questions is, do you know your game? Who is telling you about your game? And, you know, those are just true assessments and true questions that come with pen and paper when you're just laying on your bed or wherever the case may be and just trying to figure out who you are as a player. And I think when you realize who you are, then you can get to that point of what you want to develop, right?
Yeah.
How you want to sell yourself. I was a speed player. I was a pace player. I was a tempo player. You could not stop me. I was going to run at some point. I was going to increase tempo at some point. And so that was just my game. And I knew that. And for a lot of people, you know, now in the AAU world is I have to score, right? But how much of it is where you're looking at people in the world now where they're not hustling to get down on the floor for a 50-50 ball, right? It's I have to score, pass me the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? I mean, the game has definitely changed and evolved a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, you know, there's much more 3-point shooting now. There's much more emphasis on shooting. But I mean, and this, your roadmap, how can you explain a little bit more to me what's inside the workbook? So
Game On is a recruiting workbook that basically, I won't say basically, it builds your plan. And I've been in experiences with other players where, who did you talk to on the phone in terms of college coach? I talked to a coach. What's his or her name? Coach. You won't talk to that coach for another 2 weeks. Now, if you're actively being recruited, you're going to talk to 4 or 5 coaches a week. Where are you writing these things down? You can't be remembering them,
right?
You know, from the start. I know, just personal, the amount of phone calls that I was getting, the amount of letters that were being written to me, they were great handwritten letters, and I would only know just because of what was on the front of the envelope.
Right.
So Game On is guidance, alignment, movement, and execution. And then you have the bonus feature of overtime with the NIL. And basically the guidance piece is the self-assessment piece, is knowing who you are as a player, and the things that you want to accomplish, those goal settings. And so those goal settings is schools. What are your top 10 schools?
So all of that is in the work.
That's in G.
So you can just go into the workbook and write those things down.
You can go into the workbook and you write them down, and it gives you everything you need step by step. The first one is the fit level and a reality check. We don't think about D2. We don't think about NAIA. We don't think about D3, right? We only see D1, but we only see P4 D1s. We don't see mid-majors. So it opens you up to another level of thinking. We always see the Kentuckys for boys basketball. Right. We always see these big schools, Michigan, and that's our goal, right? If we're on the guys' side. For the girls, it's South Carolina, it's UConn. We see those schools. But what about these other schools that do just as much work, right? Have the money to be able to pay, but also if we're talking, we get into the NIL piece, you building yourself on a mid-major block, on a D2 block, to be able to sell yourself to be at P4 range. So this piece of it with guidance is putting the schools down and saying, if this is a goal of yours, then make it a goal. You have it written down.
Yeah, this is pretty, I don't know of anything that's like this, right? I don't know anything I don't know players that have. And this isn't just for basketball either, right? I mean,
no, it's for recruitment. And when you think about it, it's the recruitment of schools. Like, you have to go out and you have to get schools now that you find that's a fit for you. College coaches are probably not going out and recruiting as much because they're seeing things from a bigger lens. They've got streaming services. They can sit and watch game tape right from their office. They might not be getting out as much as they used to. And so you've got to go out and you've got to go in and sell yourself to these schools, which is part of that self-advocacy piece. And then start aligning yourself with the things that you need to do both academically and athletically to put yourself in position to succeed.
So the next part, alignment, that's learning the schools and the potential kind of matches with you.
Yeah. So the alignment piece is knowing where you want to go, knowing who you are and how that fits, right? Mm-hmm. But there's also an academic component to it. Have you done clearinghouse? If not, this is how you do clearinghouse. Are you keeping up with the amount of credits that you need to be able to be eligible, one, to play high school, but to be academically eligible to get to college? Like, all of those things matter when your transcript is now being shared from high school to colleges who are interested in you.
Oh, snap. So that goes pretty deep.
Yeah, I mean, it has to, because we are student athletes. We are student athletes. And as much as we want to say athlete students, we've got to stay in the student athlete realm. And so we've got to be able to do that. And so you're aligning yourself academically with what we need to the plan and preparation for registering for the NCAA and all the things. And even to the point of where there is a mock letter in here that you send out to schools that you might have identified in the guidance piece. Now you have this letter, again, that you fill in the blanks. You fill in the blanks with what you need with this letter, and you send it out.
Man, the beauty in this is that, to me, well, it's a beautiful, this is nice. I mean, is that it encompasses multiple sports, right?
Yes.
Because, I mean, I think now there's so much focus on basketball and football, and you know what I mean? Like, this is something that a swimmer could use,
yes,
right? A lacrosse player.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's really ingenious.
I appreciate that. And we've been fortunate enough to have a swimmer use the book. He specifically came back to me and said that he used a letter and got feedback within 5 people.
Wow.
For 5 schools. One of my basketball player has sent the letter out. She got feedback from 2 schools immediately. My nephew, who plays football, he's a senior, so his journey started late. And, you know, he's using it and now he's understanding. He's texting me, but he's also understanding. It's like, hey, I talked to this coach at this school, and he now has a name to the coach.
Wow.
And so, again, you start doing that. You start understanding that it's easier to have conversations, right? And not everything be through text.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I love that. That's, I mean, do you need a partner with this? I might want to nerd with.
Well, I mean, I just think it's something that, you know, from an experience standpoint that I've been through and seeing the success that my kids have had from a basketball standpoint, seeing that success has been, you know, just completely humbling for me. And even to the point where the kids that have gone to school, some have been top managers. I have one of my kids was the top manager for Miami team for women's basketball. One was the top manager for Tennessee. I've had another one now. She now works with the Atlanta Dream. And it's because of the process that we went through in high school that they were able to turn this information into something that they really wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. Did it take you a while to develop this?
Mentally, it took forever, but putting it on paper, it took about a good 3 months to get it to where I wanted to have it, even to the point of having notes. Yeah. You know, just, again, I could say this, you know, one of the Proverbs and biblical version is write it down, make it plain and clear, and it's yours. And And we don't do a lot of that, right? A lot of our writing down, again, is through our thumb, through text messaging and writing in our notes, but sometimes just simple pen and paper.
Yeah. So I got to ask you a couple questions about officials. And, I know you're an official too, right?
I am.
So how did that come into, was that a natural evolution too for you?
So you want the long story or the short story?
I want both, but they're telling me we don't have too much time.
All right. So I'll give you the Cliff Notes with it being some good meeting.
I mean, we're gonna follow up.
Yeah, that's fine. So, that's fine.
But I want to talk about how.
So I started watching officials probably my last 2 or 3 years in the WNBA. Just trying to figure out why they were moving, why they were making the calls. They were, my favorite rails versus like, why do we have this person today?
Right.
And I started seeking out like ways to stay around the game. And I met some people and it's like, well, when you're done, because I was still playing, when you're done, come to us. And so I played actually overseas 2 more years more than I played in the WNBA. And I was like, all right, I'm done. And he was like, are you done? I was like, no, I'm going to France in August. Like, nope, you got to wait till you're done. So when I called, I said, hey, I'm completely done. Nan and Doc Sisk, they're
oh my gosh,
family tree. Yeah, they have a family tree of officials. So they were the one that implanted the seed in me to officiate. So I got started with some people, in the Atlanta area, just trying to learn how to officiate. And, some of the easiest advice I ever got was, did you do this when somebody got hit on the court? And if you did that, then that's a foul.
Yeah.
Let's start there, right? Like, how did you feel when somebody was riding you from 94 feet? I didn't like it. I was ready to fight. Okay, then that's a foul.
Right.
So those are some things that you go from the physicality of it to now the mental space of it. And so I started refereeing in its foundational aspect. I started working at a high school as a substitute / sports information director / permanent sub or whatever they wanted me for. I started doing commentating. So I was with the SEC network doing University of Georgia games. But this was my incubation period again, right? This is my third life, my incubation period. So I was doing all the things and I was like, I'm just going to wait for an iron to get hot. And the iron got hot for all 3 at the same time. And because of compliance, when I was working with the high school doing SEC network, which was with the college, because of compliance, I had to stop that part. So I kept officiating. I was still at Galloway, and everything just sort of flowed in, and I got better at officiating. I got better at being an administrator. I got better at being a coach, and just continued.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. I love officiating. It is my outlet. I call it, for me, the perfect break, because as a referee, you've got to listen to the coach and you've got to take things into consideration, but the coaches need to be heard. As a coach, I need to be heard. Yeah. I need to know that you've got my kids' interest in mind for the game to be played. Yeah. And as an administrator, I have to hear you, right? I'm always thinking about the parents. I have to hear you, but I don't always have to do what you tell me to do because I'm taking the entire program into consideration. So it's weaving those 3 applications in,
man,
and it's refereeing as my outlet of sorts.
Man, that's so. I pose the question: what haven't you done? I mean, like, you've commentated, officiated, administrated.
Yeah.
I mean, played. Yeah. There's so many just hats. I know. I want to know how you talk to refs. I want to know how you want to be talked to as a ref. I want to know if you've had crazy situations pop up, like when you were officiating high school games, back in the day. I mean, just all of that stuff. So just one thing, I know this is kind of off the cuff. What's the craziest thing that's happened to you that you remember?
All right,
as an official? Or no, what?
I'm gonna give you 2 for 1.
Okay.
I'm giving you 2 for 1. So this was back in my earlier officiating days, like early. And so I had to referee a game, like a D2 NAIA game. And then I had a high school game to coach on the same Saturday. So you do the game at noon
Yeah.
and you hustle up, safety first,
Yeah.
and you get to the high school game. And so we get to the high school game, kids there, everybody's there, ready to go. So normally when high school referees arrive,
yeah.
and when they arrive to the court.
Yeah.
Well, none of this happened. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, as a coach now, because I've taken my referee hat off, I'm a coach, and I don't see referees coming to the building. So we get down to like the 15-minute mark. I don't see referees approach the court. So now I'm like, how long do we let this last? And so we're down to like 6 minutes. So I'm visiting a school. We're visiting a school. We're away. So I go to the AD and I said, hey, do you have refs? And he's, yeah, they're coming. Okay. 2 minutes later, I said, hey, you don't have any refs. There's a couple things we can do here. Because this was also a snow game that was rescheduled for this date. So this game had to be played. So I said, a couple things we can do. I can ref this game, and I can try to call someone, because we were in a neighborhood I knew a couple people lived in, to help ref this game. You've got to be okay with that, because we've got to get this game in. Yeah. So,
wow.
God is my keeper. Another one of my good friends walks in, and he is the uncle of a kid of the team we were playing. So I said, hey, Big Mike, you got your shirt? He's like, yeah, need you. So he gets his shirt out of the car, and I'm still calling people. So now we got 2, right? I've gone and told my kids, I am no longer your coach for the day. We got to referee this game.
Wow.
Talked to all the coaches. They were okay with it. So now you got somebody from this side, you got somebody from that side. So I called one of my officiating buddies and I said, hey, are you home? Can you officiate this game? We need a third. She wasn't home. All right. So then I called somebody, no pickups.
Everybody's working.
Hey, Don, where are you coming from? I'm just getting back from Marshall. Can you get to this address in like 15 minutes from the airport? I get there in 20. Cool. Perfect. You'll be here for the boys' game. So I tell the AD, I said, hey, we got 2 officials, me and Big Mike. I got a third one coming in. She'll be here by the start of the boys' game. So she got there about the start, 4th quarter of the girls' game. Girls' game was taken care of, and she comes into the game to work the boys' game. So I had to work Galloway's basketball game long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did anybody protest that?
They couldn't. Big Mike was on the other side,
right,
so we were good.
Man,
we were good. We leveled out.
Wow. So you actually refereed your own team.
I did.
Man, that's crazy. Wonderful story. What a great story. Hey, so we got to wrap up. I know I just have so many things to ask you, right? Like there's so many rich experiences, and I mean, Game On, I know is going to jump off and take off. So, but I mean, just officiating wise, parent wise, coach wise, you wear so many hats. So I want to have one episode maybe for each hat that you wear.
Okay.
If you don't mind, if that's possible.
If it's possible.
But I just appreciate you and your candor, your honesty, and you taking care of the kids. That's the big thing every day that you do that I think is so important in helping them develop as leaders and as people. So I just want to say thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thanks for
Thank you for helping me get my story out.
Yeah, it's we're not done. There's more story. So this is the Black and White Table Talk. We're going to sign off for now. But we're going to have Kiesha back on, 5 more times? You wear 5 different hats?
I think so.
So 6 maybe. But thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.